We are on to the last and final room that we need to do here, and it is the biggest job we have. This is top for my kid's table that we talked about before. My laser cutter, I'm going to move that over to the outlet way over there, but we have so much stuff. This whole thing needs to, I don't know, I originally built this as a where my 3D printer would go, my laser stuff, and then storage for all that. It's a hot mess. We have things everywhere. I have this really nice pegboard that doesn't work for me right now, so I need to fix that. But my most pressing concern is my shelf up here, which is held on with this splits things going up to one of the rafters or joists. And then this guy here, which is nailed in to that side. And then if we take a look all the way up there, it's nailed in. It's not connected to the ceiling, not connected to anything there. It's just very loosely hanging on. So I need to clear this room out, and I need to get all of this reassembled into a format that works. The other thing I have that's a problem with this guy has storage inside of it. This whole lid opens. As you can clearly see, I can't open it because I'm a slob. So I need to fix all of that and do the storage and all of that. The other problem with this is this 2x6 means that this shelf on the bottom is too small to fit this stuff. Luckily, I have some plywood here that's going to replace this area. And then once we get that replaced, we can strengthen up this guy here and that guy there, move this guy there, over there, and get all of this taken care of. God help us. All right, so I got all of that cleared out. It's nothing special, and I really just moved it all over there. But that's not the point here. Just taking a look here, we have to open this up now. Remove all the stuff out of there, and then get all of the stuff that's down here out as well. But you can see I have a whole bunch of stains and stuff that I keep stored in there. Some putty for drywall. I have another hammer in there for some reason. I have 3 hammers right there and another one in there. This is just kind of like a random collect all drawer. So I need to get that fixed because that's a hot mess, and we need to take care of it. All right, so we got that cleared out. I'm going to keep those guys there. They're the legs, the exact same height as this workbench, so that will be fine. But the new piece of plywood is right there. It's about 6 inches shorter than the other ones, but it's significantly deeper. It's about 8 inches deeper than the other ones. So the legs are going to be fine, but I need to cut out new supports going all the way over there. Probably put one through the middle as well, just for strength, at least on the bottom shelf. Maybe the top, I don't know. We'll see how much lumber I have. And then we can start reassembling that. And then once we have that reassembled, we'll figure out what the heck to do with that. We have to reinforce this thing because it's ridiculous. We're going to reinforce this thing. I think I'm just going to run a single column straight down to prop up that corner, and that should be strong enough. And the same thing here on that corner right there. Run it straight down, and we should be in good shape. But we'll find out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look. I did not videotape all of the cutting of plywood and 2x4s because that's not really all that interesting. But you can see there is a massive change here. Now, not everything is in this room quite yet. I have to put my table saw over here at Sawhorse is. But again, it's going to take up a lot less space here. This particular counter is the exact same. Nothing changed there. I just added some supports there, doubled up on this. These are actually tied into that back there, so I'm not as worried as what I was before. This one here is there. I still need to double up on that when I get another one to connect underneath that all the way down. But the hardware store was currently closed with forklifts and stuff, so I'm not worried about that. I have my little tool bench cart thing here. That was my dad's. I have my crane and my supplies there. My tools are now down there. This is about a foot deeper than what it was and about a foot shorter than what it was before. Right here, I used to have where my laser was. The laser's now all the way over there. I still need to reroute this and put it probably up under here and then kick it outside. But that's not a big deal. That's a pretty simple process. And I need to organize and do a whole lot with this. I love this metal stuff. The pegboard, it's way better than regular pegboard, but it does present some problems. I really, really, really hate these chintzy little things. Like, they fall off. I found this one. That's why it has like all this crap on it. But I really hate these things. They're very easy to bump off there. They don't last long. They get weighted down. I just need a better solution to all of that. And then on this wall, I put, my uncle made this like 20 years ago for my dad. It's kept in his house, and now when they sold their house, I have it, so it's in my house. And then with all leftover plywood from what was this one, I built a little shelf down here that has all my paint and stains and all that stuff. There's a couple of projects and laser stuff there, and then some 3D printed fun stuff there. All of this area has not changed because I can't move the HVAC system around. I just still bump my head on that routinely, and then everything else is there. But I'm really, really happy with how this thing came out. It didn't take that long. It was probably about an afternoon and a half worth of work. And I still have a few things I need to do, like particularly doubling up on that. But I at least feel more comfortable that that has support on it now. I do want to print out some supports down here just to kind of tie this better in there. There's screws coming from underneath to hold those there. These guys are glued together and screwed together and tied in from the bottom, along with being tied in on the sides here and the sides there. And there's also a pocket, internal pocket going up. But I want to eventually do some more with that, but I'm pretty happy. My big question is over here, what do I do next? Do I raise this up so I have workspace underneath where I can store all of that stuff there? I can store it underneath this, or do I leave it as is and kind of have it be its thing? I kind of want to store it up just so it's not the same level, so if something spills or drips on this, it's not going to affect the laser, but we'll see what's going on. I also have the paper here that stops the laser burn and stuff. I want to eventually build some type of mount for that here or there, so it's easier to get at and rip off and all that, but that's a project for another day. The next big thing I need to do down here is the pegboard stuff. Again, I really hate how this is done. I don't like pegboards in general. This one is metal, I like it. I originally started trying to work with these slots, but I found them to be a little bit more temperamental than I'd like to get things in and out. So I have some plans related to these holes that I'll talk about in a future video, but I gotta work that out a little bit more and see what's up. But again, this is my workshop now. I'm very, very happy with how it looks and what it does and all of that stuff. And thanks for joining me on my basement journey here as we have this thing totally completed with all of the stuff that I wanted to have done fully accomplished here. So thanks as always, folks, for joining me. I appreciate your time, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.